Good evening, sir. Mute. You are on mute, sir.
I got mail from your friend, and today I have mailed that material whatever I'm having. Dear friends, today we will be discussing about planning and decision making, which you find, I think, in block two. Of course, we know very well that we are just 10 hours. In 10 hours, we are supposed to discuss many things, but whatever that is possible, I'll try to do it. The first thing is today we shall talk about planning. It is the fundamental function of management. Planning happens to be fundamental function of management. It is an intellectual exercise. It is a process through which a manager looks to the future and discovers alternative courses of action for effective corporate achievement at all levels. When we talk about all levels and all functions, we are talking about first line, managers, middle level, and top level. And also, different functions are there. And in all these things, without planning, we cannot do anything. It is the base of all managerial activities, namely controlling, coordinating, staffing, and other things. The simple definition of planning is you're thinking in advance what is to be done, when it is to be done, and how it is to be done, and by whom it should be done. So, this is a simple, very, very simple definition of planning. In the words of fire, planning is charting out a plan of action. The result envisaged in the line of action to be followed, the stages go through the methods to use. See, this is what Henry Fayol talks about planning. You have to check out the plan of action before doing something. It also talks about the determination in advance of line of action by which certain results are to be achieved. Coons and O'Donnell said the selection among alternatives for future course of action for the enterprise as a whole and each department within it. Louis Allen, he says regarding planning, planning involves the development of forecasts, objectives, policies, programs, procedures, schedules, and budget. These things we will discuss. I think we need to know the difference between these things, and sometimes we'll be asking in the exam about these things also. Now, why planning is so important? So you need to have direction, therefore you need to have planning. And the other day we were talking about VUCA environment. And if you want to reduce your risk, then invariably you have to get into this planning. Planning enables you to enables to reduce the risk. Planning also reduces the overlapping and wasteful activities. Otherwise, people, they'll be doing the same thing, lot of overlapping of activities they take place. Planning promotes innovative ideas because when you are planning together, you sit to discuss so many things, and a lot of new ideas will come because um, all these heads they come together, and planning also enables decision making. We'll be discussing in detail about this decision making. Then planning establishes standards for controlling. If we do not have planning, then the question of control doesn't arise. There is a, I can tell you, a close relationship between planning and control. So, without planning, it is very difficult to control. See, if you want to know whether the activities are going out of the way or not, you need to have certain established standards, and these standards are established only through planning process. Now, the features of planning, if we think about, planning achieves on achieving the objectives of the organization. That means you are having goals, not one goal for every stakeholder you are having goal. Therefore, you need to plan for those things. And the primary function of management happens to be planning. So without planning, you can't go for other things. Then planning happens to be a rational approach because there's a lot of logic, rationality that is involved in the case of planning. I'll be discussing about the rational approach, logical approach when I come to decision making a little bit in detail. Then planning focuses on the objectives of the organization. Otherwise, if otherwise, what happens? You'll be you see without objectives, you can't plan. Also, then planning is all pervasive. It is there everywhere in all the functions. Planning is continuous in the sense of one thing is over, the other thing that comes into picture. Planning is about future activities, not past activities. Then planning involves decision making. See, I will be discussing at length about this decision making. At that time, we will come to know about rationality and the decision making process and other things. Now, what are the advantages of planning? Say, you'll be paying attention to the objectives when there is planning. Otherwise, each people they do things according to their whims and fancies. Then we'll be minimizing uncertainties because risk analysis and all those things will be done with the help of this planning. Then better utilization of resources will take place if we have got men, material, machine, money, and management, and these resources you can use in a better way if you are having proper planning, or if we are having proper planning. Then in operations, lot of economy is there if we can plan properly. Otherwise, lot of resources will be wasted. Then better coordination of activities will be done. If there is a planning, say, off the line classes, I used to tell a lot of stories about these things. But here, sometimes I can't tell all the stories because actually in management, lot of with the help of stories, we learn so many things. Then better coordination is required. I should know what you are doing, and you should know what I'm doing. Otherwise, one is confusion will be there, chaos will be there, resources will be wasted, and everybody will be working, and ultimately the work is not done if there is no coordination. Therefore, better coordination is there. Then, if we are having planning, it encourages lot of innovation and creativity. New things they emerge, new things will come. Then management by exception is possible. See, management need not focus on every element when they can concentrate on the things only when they go out of the way, and it facilitates control. As I told you, planning and control are inseparable. Then without delegation you cannot achieve anything in the organization. The art of delegation people they should learn, and that is facilitated only through this planning, how to delegate these things. So these are the advantages that accrue in the case of a planning. Now, what are the characteristics of a good plan? First of all, you should have a clear, concise, definite, accurate objectives. That means you should know what you want to do. Many times we'll be doing things without knowing what we want to do. So therefore, it helps you to think clearly to establish our objectives. Our object, I think the other day I was giving you the objectives of the organization given by Peter Drucker. 8 areas. I think we need to set our objectives. We have to set our objectives regarding marketing. We have to set our objectives regarding innovation. We have to set objectives regarding acquiring resources, human resources. We have to set our objectives regarding making profits. We should have that kind of clarity. That clarity is achieved only when there is planning. In other words, the good characteristic of plan is clear objectives, then proper understanding, and a good characteristic talks about a comprehension regarding what we are going to do. Then planning does not mean we have to be rigid, and planning involves, if time, I think when things are not going in the way that we are thinking, I think you have to think about plan B. That is called flexibility is required in the case of planning. See, I know very well sometimes I take roundabout. Let's say it's like this. Uh, how to go from Secunderabad to Hyderabad? There could be a straight way, but sometimes straight way, I know very well. I think within a I think less time you can come, but sometimes it so happens when there are processions and all those things, maybe you have to take a day route, and you have to take roundabout, but that becomes very easy. That's called plan B. So you need to be flexible also. See, flexible does not mean we are retreating, and retreating means only one thing: we want to come back and we want to do certain things in a better way, and we want to do things in a fresh way. Therefore, we take a longer route. That's all. We retreat. Now, plan a characteristic of a good plan is it is flexible, and at another characteristic of a good plan is it is economical also. Then, do you think there are limitations in the case of planning? Yes, there are certain limitations in the case of planning. Many times, what happens, when you plan, you want to stick to those plans, you try to be very rigid. Okay, that is one of the I can tell you minus point. It is not minus point. I think that because of our nature, we do like that. A good plan never talks about rigidity. When things are not going in the way that we are thinking, I think you have to change your way. But why we are talking about this rigidity means the nature of people. Because I have decided like this, I want to go like this. I think this is one of the things we need to overcome. Then planning may not work in a dynamic environment. So people call this one as a limitation. But I tell you, because the environment is so dynamic, because the environment is so volatile, I think you need to plan it. You think it may not work, but do you think by not planning also you can do in a dynamic environment? Means you should think plan A, plan B, plan C, like that. You have to make it. Then planning reduces creativity. That is what people say, but um, that may not be correct thing. They are, I think just now we were discussing, when you are involved into planning, lot of innovation, creativity is generated. I think all these things, I can tell you, um, are happening because of our human weaknesses. So, one of the limitations, they say, it reduces creativity. Planning involves huge costs. See, planning involves a lot of meetings. There is a saying regarding meetings. A meeting is people they record minutes and waste hours. People they record. You know what is recording minutes? Minutes means whenever a meeting takes place, I think the proceedings and all those things they are recorded in the form of minutes. Okay, but I think many times you'll be wasting hours on small things. But conducting a meeting, it's an art. It is an art. So it involves huge cost. It is a time consuming, and planning. Will it guarantee success? Of course, people say it won't give guaranteed success. But now the question is the other way. If I do not plan, will you guarantee success? That also I cannot say. Therefore, some of the limitations we are presenting with the intention that when we are planning, we try to keep some of these things in our view, and based on that, we will try to proceed. And whenever we are facing this kind of weaknesses, we try to overcome them. Now, what are the principles of planning? The one is planning should contribute to the objectives of the organization. Then the second principle is planning comes first, whatever it comes, it's the primary thing. Then planning is always based on certain assumptions. The principle, there are certain assumptions based on that we will be planning. It is based on certain premises. Then in the case of planning, you should all be aware about the alternatives that are available. Then there's a principle of timing we should remember. Then planning also should incorporate the principle of flexibility. Then planning should also incorporate the commitment of resources. 5 M's, this is the word we use men, machine, material, money, and management. We have to commit these things, commitment of resources and other things. Then we should planning also involves competitive strategies. Planning does not mean you are only planning. The way you are planning, even your competitors also they will plan. Therefore, you should take into cognizance the most probable way your competitors they plan, and you try to incorporate into our planning, and that is how we need to proceed. Now, what are the planning premises? Premises, okay? There are certain things within the organization, there are certain things external to the organizations. You make certain assumptions within the organization, how they are going to be, and you make certain premises, certain assumptions which are outside the organization. Sometimes these premises may undergo change also. But it doesn't preclude you from making these assumptions. So there are certain premises which are relating to within the internal, which is within the organization, certain premises which are external to the organization. Then there will be certain premises will be there which you can control. There are certain premises which you cannot control. See, you should take into cognizance what are the things that I can control, what are the things that I cannot control. Sometimes certain things that you think that you can control, they become uncontrollable factors. And sometimes those things which you think you cannot control, over a period of time, because of this technology, the extrapolation, then AIs and MIs, I think you will be in a position to control. But you have to recognize what are the controllable, what are the uncontrollable assumptions. Then certain assumptions which are tangible, certain assumptions that which are intangible. I think so. When you are planning, try to consider these things. Now, what is the process of planning? For the first thing that you need to do is we need to set objectives. Of course, how do you set the objectives? How do you plan? That is a different story. Are you going to have a top-down approach or bottom-up approach? Are we going to have management by objectives? That is a different story. But the thing is, we need to set objectives. Try to understand. We need to set objectives, not just one objective. I think the 8 areas given by Peter F. Drucker one has to remember. And in those areas, I think we need to set the objectives. Then, while setting the objectives, you have to develop premises in every area. Saying our planning is based on various assumptions. The assumptions are relating to economy, the assumptions are relating to technology, All of us know 5 years back the technologies were different. And I can tell you, after 2019, things have undergone a drastic change. And technology has become a part of, I can tell you, every human life. I think you agree with me. Now, the education system has undergone a lot of change. We did not imagine that things would be like that. They have undergone a lot of change. Not only that, I think we have come to know several things. I'm very happy they have kept only 1 hour session for you. Because online session, I can tell you, sustaining the interest of students continuously for 2 hours regarding one subject, it becomes difficult. Nowadays, people are thinking about what is the attention span of of an individual when things are online. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is we are developing premises. I think I did not imagine certain things and suddenly new things they crop up at the time. What I do is based on certain assumptions we are proceeding. So first I need to set objectives in different areas. The second thing that I need to develop premises for every area. For example, you just think about how hospitality industry has undergone change. I think there were days, I'll tell you, when somebody has done a project work on instant curds. I'm talking about instant curds. I was wondering what is this instant curds saying, and today you're having lot of products like that. Not only that, I we could not imagine a few years back about this Swiggy, Zomato, and all those things. And today I think that industry has developed like anything, and its impact is there on several segments. There are certain positive impacts, certain negative impacts also. So we have to develop premises, and then we have to identify what are the alternative courses of action in order to achieve those objectives. And each alternative I have to evaluate. After evaluating, for example, if I have to achieve a certain amount of profit, what are the activities that I should take up, and what are the premises based on which I am going to take up this activity. Then is it enough for me to take up one activity? What are the various alternative courses of action? Because if this premise fails, I have to get into the other one. I have to evaluate every alternative course of action. After doing that, I need to select that alternative which I consider as the best alternative. Then comes implementing that alternative which is considered as the most important one, and we need to do follow up action. The reason for doing this follow up action is very simple. That means when you are having discussions to set these objectives and do all those things, the environment may be totally different. And when you have started implementing those things, the environment may undergo drastic change. Technological environment may undergo a lot of change. In the light of these things, we have to think the decisions which we have taken, are they really good in the light of new decisions or not? I think we need to think about those things. I think before 2019, work from home means we were thinking altogether in a different way. But I know work from home has become, I think, it is not uncommon. Many people they do, I think, this work from home. It has got certain positive aspects and also negative aspects. See, why people they're encouraging work from, and now people they're asking, come to office, come to office. There are several things. Therefore, what we are telling people is you need to do follow up action. See, after doing this follow up actions, maybe you have to revise your entire planning process. This is called entire planning process. Remember, some of these points we'll be discussing even in decision making. I think when I talk about satisfying decision making process, at that time also some of these things points I'll be discussing. Don't think it is too repetitive, but one thing I can tell you is in business, in the process, lot of things you need to repeat that goes like a cycle, that goes like a cycle. Then, what is this hierarchy of planning? It's very important. It's very important. When I say important, it is important only because several times I think several short questions that are asked in the examination regarding these terms. Okay. We will be talking about these things. Okay, 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 okay. Then people they start with mission, goals, objectives, strategies, policies, procedures, rules, programs, and budget. But I'll start with vision, mission, and all those things. Okay, I'll come to it. Then vision. I think even before I get into this vision, I think there's something called a purpose. Something called a purpose. Now, education. Um, May I ask you one small question? I would like to listen from you. What is the purpose of education? There's nothing like right answer or wrong answer. You
To
can tell.
acquire knowledge.
To acquire knowledge is one thing. Venkatesh sir? Okay, no problem. Is it only knowledge? If it is a matter of knowledge,
Living, like art of living.
art of living,
lead, lead better life.
live better life, or let us imagine a situation. I think, why are you doing this particular course? Spending so much. First, I'll put time and then money. The other day, somebody was telling you want to upscale your skills. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Why do you want to upscale your skills?
We don't know the correct path. By getting this education, we
Hmm.
get to know. There are so
Oh,
many confusions, everything.
okay, 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 okay. Now,
The right education will give a good path.
right education will give a good path. Uh, are we studying only for the sake of knowledge?
Not exactly.
No, no. You are correct. I'm not saying you are not correct. We have to think. And sometimes people they say after studying also people they are becoming useless. They are not. They are not. They are not becoming employable. These are the words people they are using. Am I correct?
Yes.
Ah. So what's happening? Education has got a purpose. Likewise, uh, you know the purpose of prison object. What is the purpose of prison?
Yes.
What is the purpose of prison?
To transform the
Yes, very
people's
good, very
attitude
good.
into.
People they call it correction center transform. There is a, I think society has given to every organization a particular purpose, right? Now, Usmania University, Ambedkar University, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, all these universities they are having a purpose. But within the purpose, the job that is assigned to me, it is something different. You agree with me? For example, Usmania University is imparting education. Even Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University also imparting education. But the purpose is slightly different. You agree with me? Now, in the case
Yes.
of B.R. Ambedkar University, I think
Yes.
education is taken to, I think, the people. I think they want to reach people. Um, and in Usmania University, here also they're educated. The purpose is different. So we need to understand the purpose. Okay, that's the first thing. See, in within education, our purpose is something different. Very simple. From there, we are talking about vision. I have a purpose. Society has given me a purpose. Within the purpose, where would I take my organization down the line? maybe 20 years or 15 years, my desired future position of the organization, that I call it as the vision of the organization. Okay, where I want to take. Then comes my mission. 20 years I want to take that one, but my mission is it is the core purpose of the organization or company. Mission clear tells what you as an organization has to do for customers, and mission is a tool to develop goals and objectives. Say, there is a vision, there is a mission. My mission separates me, my organization from others. So there is a vision, there is a mission. Now, what is the mission? Mission communicates the organization reasons for being, whereas vision talks about a future oriented declaration of the organization purpose, right? What a firm wants to be after 20 years, and vision statement, they are relatively brief. Whereas in the case of mission, it communicates the organization reasons for being and how it aims to serve its key stakeholders. It integrates a summation of the firm's values. Mission statements, they are a little longer than vision statement. So that is your vision after 20 years where you want to take it. And within that one, what I do is I will write my statement, and I will tell, I will communicate that one to my key stakeholders. So that is the difference between a vision statement and mission statement. Then comes the types of plan: objectives, strategies, policies, and procedures. Now, objectives are the ends towards which the activities are directed. They are the end result of every activity. For example, the objective of mine is I want to increase my sales by 10%. To increase my sales by 10%, or today people they talk about enrolling people, educating people. I think we talk about certain ratios. We want to increase them. How we want to increase them? For that purpose, we need to prepare a strategy. Strategy happens to be a comprehensive plan to achieve organizational objectives. So I need to prepare a grand plan that is called a strategy. Now, once I prepare the strategy, I need to frame certain policies. Now, what are the policies? Let us say I have to educate 10% of the population. For this purpose, this is the strategy I'm coming up. This is how I want to educate people, and to educate that people how enrollment has to take in place. What are the policies that I need to frame? That means the general statement that I frame, and these statements I call them as the policies. Then what are the procedure? What are the various steps that I need to follow in order to do various things in the organization? Procedure are required steps established in advance to handle future condition. The procedure can be defined as the exact manner in which an activity has to be accomplished. For example, PGD HRM course is there. Through that, we want to educate. That is one of the method. Then, what are the policies to admit into that one? How many seats are there? Who should be given these seats? Then what is the procedure they have to follow? What is the step one? What is the step two? Step three? So these things we call them as the procedure. Of course, this is very small. Then we come to the next level, the types of plan. Methods. Methods provide the prescribed ways or manners in which a task has to be performed. You are getting admission, and let us say application. What is the method in which you have to apply? Then rules. Rules are specific statements that inform what is to be done. They do not allow for any flexibility or discretion. Then programs. Programs are detailed statement about a project which outline objectives, policies, procedures, and rules. A budget happens to be a quantitative statement. You think about budget when something is scarce. When something is in plenty, I think you don't think about this budget. Now remember, just now I have shown you the types of plans or hierarchy of plans. Remember, this hierarchy of plans is very, very important. And one more thing. Yesterday, I was discussing about levels of management. We remember levels of management, and now we are having types of plan. These types of plan, as you go up, they are very vague. As you come down, they are very clear. Budgets are very clear. Rules and regulations are very clear. Programs are very clear. Then purpose, vision, mission, I think they are not that clear. The reason is those things are meant for people at a higher level. Therefore, sometimes they appear to be a little vague. In fact, they should not be so vague because you need to convey your vision and mission to the organization members. But normally, what happens in the hierarchy of planning, those things are not clear. As you come down, I think things are very clear. The reason being because as you come down, these things they go to the first line managers and also sometimes operatives. They are supposed to know these things. Now, we have discussed all these things. Sometimes people they ask you one question: who is a manager? Simple question I'm asking, just to converse or just to engage you. I'm asking, who is a manager? Anyone can. I think how many are there? I do not know. Individual. Okay, a few people are there. Now, can someone tell who is a manager? Any person? Don't think I'm trying to test your knowledge. I'm not trying to test your knowledge. Just I want you to speak. Anyone? Hope I think you are listening to me. My voice is audible.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
who is managing person?
Very simple.
Department.
Okay, very simple. Those who get things done through others, those who manage others, they are called managers. But those who work for others, operatives, they're called operatives. Okay, managers and operatives. Now, as you come down, things have to be very clear. Then we talk about types of plans. I think in the exam, these small things, because they have to give questions from the entire syllabus, some of these questions, they appear. There's strategic, operational, tactical, and contingency. Now, what is a strategic plan? Strategic plan is the foundation of an organization. It dictates important decisions to be made. Strategic plans can have scope that range from 3 to 10 years. Why? Previously, we used to talk about strategic planning, 5 years, more than 5 years, 10 years. These are the words we used to use. But in the light of changing technology and all those things, we are reducing even that time. These plans include mission, values, vision. A good strategic plan always considers things in the long term and remembers the big picture, right? Plans which are involving big people, having big amount of money, having impact on the long term of the organization, we call it as a strategic planning. Very simple thing. Then we talk about operational plans. Operations plans can be ongoing or a single use. The latter is usually created for a specific event that will occur only once, such as a marketing campaign. These ongoing plans can include rules and regulations. procedure, and day-to-day running of the company. These are called operation plans. Then tactical plans. Tactical planning is supportive of the strategic plans. See, it's like this. You have decided to go to Gachibowli or someplace in a particular way. You have a particular thing. Suddenly, when you are going that way, something happens. You cannot go immediately. You take another direction. Likewise, you have a strategy to reach yeah, your mission and vision, but something happens at that time. You have to employs. I can temporary things. These things we call them as tactical planning. It is a supportive of the strategic plan. It involves tactics which will be used to execute the strategic plan. This planning is very short term. Tactical plans are sometimes flexible, and they often break the strategy down into several parts. They assign actionable tasks to each part. Let us say you want to introduce computerization. When you want to introduce computerization, then you will come to know computers we are bringing, but a lot of supportive things also we need to take up. So suddenly what you do, you start organizing some training programs and other things also. So some supportive plans which which are taking up this called tactical planning. Then we have got contingency planning. Contingency tactical planning is supportive planning. Contingency planning is important for any business because there's always the possibility of unforeseen changes. Just now, I was sharing with you, you are going in a particular direction. Suddenly, something happens, you have to take a different route. It is a contingency plan we have to create. So, in the case of tactical plan, you are taking up supportive plans, whereas a contingency plan is created when unexpected events they occur and major changes that are required to be made. That is called a contingency plan. So the difference between a tactical plan and contingency planning is tactical planning is supportive of the strategic plan, whereas you get into a contingency plan because of some unforeseen events that are taking place in the environment or in the organization. You have to take up this contingency plan. That is the difference between a tactical plan and contingency plan. You might be thinking, is there a confusion? Means I think maybe slightly I'm correcting what I spoke a minute before. Therefore, I am making very clear what is a tactical plan and what is a contingency plan. Then, what are the 6 P's of planning? So, every planning involves a purpose, the reason for your existence. Every planning has got your philosophy. That means you have your beliefs and values. So based on your beliefs and values regarding human being, regarding money, regarding making money, regarding your customers, all of us based on that will be working. And every planning has got a promise that is making its commitment to the stakeholders. And every planning has got certain policies because based on the policies only they proceed. And every planning has got certain plans. They outline specific objectives and the actions needed to attain them. Then every planning has got the priorities. These things are called 6 P's of planning. Then we are coming to a very, very important concept, that is management by objectives. We are talking about planning. Then how do you plan? Sometimes you plan, I think the management, top management decides something, then that is conveyed to the people at the lower level. It's a top-down planning. On the other hand, sometimes what they do, they take requirements from people, and based on that, people at the higher level they plan. That is called bottom up planning. Now we will talk about management by objectives. Management by objectives, it talks about the system of management objectives can be described as a process. It is a process. It goes on whereby the superior and subordinate managers of an organization jointly, underscore this word, jointly identify its common goals. It is a process superior and subordinate managers jointly identify. Now, if superior and subordinate managers of an organization have to jointly identify, that means there is a philosophy that is involved. That means a value system that is involved. That means the management considers their subordinates also something as human beings, and they think that they can contribute to the goals of the organization. So this is a positive thinking about people. Planning involves, I said, a philosophy. Do you think the people who are working with you have got something in between their ears, or do you think that people who are working with you are stupid? Now it talks about a great philosophy. I think before I proceed, I would like to share with you two important concepts. Then there is a writer who says that all of us we move from immaturity level to maturity level. You agree with me?
Yes.
Chris agrees. All of us move from
Yes.
immaturity level to maturity level. And his contention is, unfortunately, most of the organizations they are not recognizing. Just imagine a situation. At the age of 21 or 22, you have joined in the organization. At that time, everything has to be told because you are a new person to the organization. You do not know anything, and I think at that time, I think our interest to a large extent a shallow interest, and our thinking is not that deep. Therefore, the higher ups they have to tell everything, they have to get things to be done. Then let us say you have got an experience of more than 25 to 30 years, and after gaining an experience of 30 years, if they treat you in the same way that you were treated when you joined in the organization, will you be happy?
No, sir.
No.
No.
You won't be happy. See, because you have moved from immaturity level to a maturity level. So when you gain that much experience, what has to be done? If they just tell that's enough, you know how to do it. And if they go on interfering, you get irritated. Now, what the writer says is people they move from immaturity level to maturity level, but unfortunately, these organizations they are not maturing enough. Many times we see this kind of situation. That's one thing. Then there is another writer. See, I'm talking in the form of stories and other things, but they are very important. The immaturity to maturity theory by Chris Agris. Okay, how to spell that word? I'm not Chris. I know the other word how to spell because my background is something different. If I'm not pronouncing that particular name, I'm very sorry.
I
Then
think updated skills.
yes, sir.
Updated skills.
Yeah, yeah. Then the second thing that we are talking about is this writer by name Douglas MacGregor, because all these things they become an integral part of the story. And that man, Douglas MacGregor, has propounded a theory that is called Theory X and Theory Y. Now, what is Theory X? Theory X, people consider it is a sort of, if I'm permitted, I use this word, negative thinking about human beings. Now, what is this negative thinking? People, they are lazy. They do not want to work. Don't you think many times people, they think about us like that? Even in schools, I think some teachers, not every teacher, some teachers, they think like that. These people, they are lazy. Unless you take stick and run after them, they will not study or they will not work. Um, and given a chance, they want to evade the work. This kind of thinking people they have. Then there is a sort of thinking among people that intelligence is not distributed among people equally. There are some people they think only we are intelligent, others are not intelligent. Now, this kind of thinking, we call it, I think in a nutshell, I'm trying to explain. This kind of thinking, we call it as theory X thinking. Not we call, Douglas MacGregor called it. It's a beautiful book, The Human Side of Enterprise. If you get a time, please kindly go through it. And then he said, things are not like that. Things are not like that. See, when you play your energies, you'll be spending your energies. Likewise, you can also make people this work also like a play. Say, if we are committed to the objectives of the organization, if we like the objectives of the organization, I can tell you we'll spend our energies like anything without thinking about anyone. You don't even look at your wristwatch. You'll be going on working because you love to work, because you like the objectives of the organization. So work is like a play. Then once people they are committed, they'll be spending their energies on that one. Then intelligence is distributed among people equally. I think under present circumstances, we are not using the intelligence of people properly. I think some of the statements he has made. So what he's trying to tell you is, it is the job of the organization to create a proper environment, and also the job of the organization is to use their abilities. Again, here I would like to tell you two concepts: treat me well and use me well. The concepts are treat me well and use me well. I think we have to treat people also well and use people also well. But sometimes people they limit themselves to only treating people very well. What is treating people very well? Sometimes people come for these placements and all those things, and they'll be going on telling in our company so much salary you'll get, and we have a good canteen, and they'll be going on telling whenever you want you can have we can have a coffee and all those things, all the facilities that are available, they'll be going on telling. Maybe initially students they're attracted for those things. Then after some time, they realize that, see, some of you are working, very well. Initially, when you're joined in the company, you'll be eating in canteen and all those things. After some time, I find people, they'll be taking their own tiffin box and all those things. You agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
Initially,
Agree.
because coffee and tea, whenever you want, you can go and take. But after some time, maybe after 1 or 2 months, I think they are not that much interested. They will take tea and coffee, but they are not working for the sake of tea and coffee. See, giving all these facilities, it is like treating you very well. Let us say they are treating you very well, they are not making use of your talent. Then you get frustrated. So we have to move from treat me well to use me well. But there are other organizations without treating you properly, they only make use of you. Therefore, we need good treatment. Of course, I'll come to this theory after some time when I discuss about motivation and other things. See, we need to be used to, I think initially treating people well may be good, but what we tell people that your talents need to be used. So quickly I'll go through. I think because it's 5 minutes are left. Of course, I discuss some useful things. So here because you're having that kind of positive thinking about human beings, superior and subordinate, together they set the goals of the organization in measurable way. Okay. Here it's called jointly identified common goals. Define each individual's major area of responsibility in terms of results expected of him and use these measures as guides for operating the units and assess the contribution of each its members. So what we do under MBO, we will set the objectives in measurable and verifiable terms. Then we allow people to work, and after they have worked, then again the work is assessed by both superior and subordinate whether the work is done in the proper way or not. So this is the entire joint decision making. Then after implementation, and we will also use in the controlling process also. This is management by objective, wonderful term, and this is popularized by a writer by name Peter F. Drucker. One more thing again, Peter F. Drucker has popularized this particular concept, management by objectives. Management by objectives is a comprehensive managerial system that integrates many key managerial activities in a systematic manner that is consciously directed towards effective and efficient achievement of organizational and individual objectives. Tomorrow, I will continue this MBO, then I'll proceed a little bit to organization because I'll be I think I'll be completing 5 sessions. Only 5 sessions are left. Lot of interesting things are there for us to discuss. I think some of these things are also interesting, but some more interest, some more things which create a little more interest we'll be discussing in the coming days. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your patient listening. It is 6:58. I'm afraid suddenly it will go. Therefore, I'm stopping. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.